Here at home, midterms are now 4 weeks away, and both parties are doing everything they can to solidify support in key races. In Georgia today, Senators Rick Scott and Tom Cotton will campaign for Republican Senate candidate Herschel Walker. A recent poll by Emerson College shows Walker with a narrow 2-point lead over Democratic incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock. The polling was done before a woman accused Walker of paying for an abortion, which is a claim he denies. In Pennsylvania's Senate race, Democrat John Fetterman has narrowed his lead over Republican challenger Dr. Mehmet Oz in the latest poll by The Hill and Emerson College. An Ohio Senate race is tightening. Democratic Representative Tim Ryan is only 4 points behind Republican candidate J.D. Vance. In fact, the two just had their first and only debate. Robert Sherman was there for it, and he has more this morning. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning to you, Mitch. Yes, we're starting to see this race look very, very tight right now, which is a big surprise to a lot of people who were following this race pretty closely, considering how we've seen the state of Ohio move to the right over the last couple of months. The Republicans thought that they'd have their way in this race, but Tim Ryan definitely offering up quite a challenge. So the two meeting on the debate stage last night, and of course, there's a lot of issues that are at stake here in this race. A lot of voters fired up over issues such as abortion, the economy, and things of that nature. So we saw the two sides go at it last night, and both landed a couple of jabs. Take a listen to this.
You are funded by a Silicon Valley billionaire. He gave you $15 million, funded your primary. Mitch McConnell is giving you $40 million, all corporate money from the corporations who ship jobs overseas. Now you want to parachute into Ohio, and you want to try to buy a Senate seat. It's not going to work, because everybody can sniff it out that all you want to do is be senator.
And Tim, how many tens of millions of dollars have you gotten from Apple, from Google, from the companies that have shipped a lot of jobs to China? You can't even name the company that I allegedly invested in that ships jobs to China.
Classic politics for you. The back and forth continues on, and you look at the polls. This is the real clear politics average of polls, taking several different polls and putting them together. That lead looks even narrower for J.D. Vance there, less than 2% advantage over Democrat Tim Ryan. And again, issues such as the economy and abortion, those are the ones that we hear voters talk about down here, looming large. I wouldn't make a distinction here, Mitch, is that this feels very different than Ohio felt 2 years ago when Donald Trump carried the state by 8 points, when there was a lot of enthusiasm for people to go out and vote for Donald Trump. We don't see the enthusiasm here for either one of these candidates. It's really just about everybody we're meeting says they're coming to the polls either because there's one or two key issues that matter most to them, or because they care about the balance of power in Washington. Mitch?
And apathetic voters tend not to vote, so we'll see what happens on Election Day. Robert Sherman live in Cleveland, where it rocks, as we know. Robert, thank you for that. So a lot to watch in Ohio, some other big races that will determine control of the U.S. Senate as well. We're going to bring in Kiel Williams now. He's a senior data analyst at Decision Desk HQ. Kiel, what does your forecast show at this time between J.D. Vance and Tim Ryan? And can you tell me the last time your numbers have been updated? Because that's important. We've had a debate now, but I don't expect that you have freshly updated numbers, or do you?
Absolutely. Good morning, Mitch. So we update the model daily. That we're in October now, and we're getting new polls all the time. So we're careful to update our model daily. And right now, our model shows that J.D. Vance has about a 60% chance of winning the Senate race in Ohio. So it's sort of competitive, but we see in our model that J.D. Vance continues to have a clear advantage over Democrat Tim Ryan.
My goodness, J.D. Vance, did you say 60%? He's 60% chance to win. Does that mean the polling is 60-40? Is it that simple?
So no. So our model is a holistic portrait of different factors. So one factor in our model is polling, which recently has been tight. That right now, in our polling average, we see that Tim Ryan has about a 2.2-point lead over Democrat Tim Ryan. But our model also sees that Ohio, in recent history over the past 10, 20 years, has gone pretty substantially to the right. That Ohio is a state that, for example, Donald Trump won twice by about 8 points. That Ohio is a state that doesn't have a super high level of educational attainment on average relative to the country overall. And in the era of Donald Trump, that's tended to mean people vote more conservative. It's a sort of a quite white state from an ethnic diversity perspective. So our model looks and sees that, okay, J.D. Vance is sort of underperforming what you might expect for a Republican based on the polling, but the partisan fundamentals of Ohio suggest that ultimately J.D. Vance is very likely to ultimately emerge victorious.
So the polling says, I want to get this straight because I think you said Tim Ryan twice. The polling says that Vance is ahead by 2.5%. Is that right?
So right now, the polling in the DDHQ polling average suggests that Tim Ryan is up by 2.2 points in polling, but our forecast isn't just polling.
Okay, I understand that. You don't have to restate what you just said. I just wanted to make sure about who was ahead. So Ryan is ahead in your polling, but your model, which includes a lot more things than that, says that J.D. Vance has a 60% chance to win. You just mentioned, though, that Donald Trump won this state by 8%. And if the current polling specifically is showing that Tim Ryan is ahead by 2%, that's got to be worrisome for the Vance campaign because he's clearly underperforming what Donald Trump has done in that state in 2 election cycles.
Exactly. I think that's sort of the key takeaway is that right now, J.D. Vance remains pretty likely ultimately to emerge victorious in this race. But it is pretty clear based on our model and based on some of the polling that J.D. Vance is likely to underperform. For example, I don't think any of us would be surprised if J.D. Vance, while winning, underperforms Donald Trump's 8-point victory in the state in 2020.
But it's enough to win the race if he gets one more vote than the other guy. That's all you need. When it comes to the rest of Ohio, what are some other races you might be looking at besides this Senate contest?
So Ohio has a few House races that are also very competitive. In particular, the two worth really highlighting are Ohio's 1st congressional district and Ohio's 9th congressional district. So in Ohio's 1st congressional district, incumbent Republican Steve Chabot is running for re-election. He essentially represents Cincinnati. So his district became significantly more Democratic in redistricting. And so he's in for the fight of his life against challenger Greg Landsman. The other one that's really worth highlighting is Ohio's 9th congressional district, which is sort of around Toledo in the northwestern part of the state. Incumbent Democrat Marcy Kaptur is running for re-election. She's been in the House for a very long time, but her district became significantly more conservative in redistricting. And so she's also in for the fight of her life after a very long career in the House.
And if you are wondering why this matters so much, individual House races in Toledo and Cincinnati, a Senate race, it's because the margins in Congress are that thin. Every single seat matters. And Kiel Williams was with Decision Desk HQ. He's keeping track of all of that. Kyle, thank you for your time today. NewsNation is the exclusive network home of the Georgia Senate debate. You can tune in this Friday, October 14th at 6 p.m. Eastern for Debate Night in America. That's hosted by Leland Vittert. He'll be live in Savannah, Georgia. Afterward, Chris Cuomo has live analysis and reaction. That is only on NewsNation.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.